All right, happy Sunday, guys, or maybe not so much of a happy Sunday considering the futures market just opened and, well, things are not looking pretty. We're gapping down. The E-mini S&P futures are down about 0.75%. The Dow futures are down roughly the same, and now that I look at it, the Qs or the NASDAQ futures are down the same, so we're down pretty much 0.75% across the board right now, and the pain from Friday is continuing as we got news of boots on the ground potentially coming here if President Donald Trump approves that. We'll talk about that in this video. We'll break down, obviously, a bunch of stocks I'm watching, earnings for this week, charts I'm looking at. So guys, hit the like button, consider subscribing, join the Patreon for my portfolio updates if you want to keep up with what I'm doing, my private Discord, all of that linked down below. And with that being said, let me clear my throat. Of course, cheers, guys. I appreciate you all for tuning in. I got my good old single espresso tonight. It's about 6:15 right now, so we can't go for the double. I mean, honestly, I could go for the double, but we're going to keep it, we're going to keep it PG for tonight, guys. We're going to stay with the single. So cheers. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Let me just kill this. Might as well kill this. Cheers again, and let's get into it. So again, we are gapping down in the futures market, and that's after we had a very rough Friday where we had the VIX go over 30 points. You guys probably remember that. We got the 30, almost 32 on the VIX on Friday. We closed at 31.05, and obviously I think the VIX is going to go to 35, maybe even 40 or higher this week. I think it's possible, which is why I'm sitting on a good amount of cash. I deposited more money into the brokerage, and I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to buy more. So the VIX popped on Friday. I suspect that will continue this week. And just look at how bad of a falling knife SPY is, the Qs, pretty much every index right now. SPY got all the way down to about 630, which was that support level, the low from back in August, September, right? So we're pretty much right there. And if this gets uglier, which the futures market is pointing to that, again, we're gapping down, I think SPY might be playing in this window right here between 615, 620 as support up to about 630. That would be the next gap that we could fill down to about 618, down to about 620. And if we pull up the Qs, let me show you the Qs here, guys. We can see triple Q filled the gap down to about 560. That's obviously continuing to drop here in the futures market, which, I mean, who knows? Maybe we get a tweet in the morning, right? Or a truth, whatever, or a post on X, and this gets, the losses get reversed, potentially. Who knows? It's always in the cards. But as of now, the way things stand, we're gapping down, and the Qs could be playing down to 550 this week. 550 is the next gap to fill down here, at least that I'm seeing in the short term. So, yeah, now's a great time. In other words, to have some cash. And why are the futures selling off? Well, let's pull up this article from investing.com. Give me a second here, guys. Let's pull it up and break it down. So I'm sure a lot of you have saw this, maybe not. We'll break it down now. Iran warns the United States over ground attack. Threats expand to American targets. Let me come down here and show you guys. We'll go through this entire article pretty much. So U.S. defense officials, according to the Pentagon, we're hearing things, are preparing for the possibility of ground operations in Iran lasting several weeks, according to a Saturday report from the Washington Post. And the arrival of specialized U.S. Marine expeditionary units in the Middle East aboard the USS Tripoli marks a significant transition toward a multi-domain military posture, moving beyond the exclusive air and sea campaigns of the past month, right? And that only escalates things, And the White House has described the deployment as a contingency measure to secure energy corridors and critical infrastructure, but the move has fueled intense speculation regarding the prospect of a protracted ground war, right? And I'm sure you guys saw this news as well. I made a post on it yesterday, but we can see Pakistan, Iran's letting 20 additional ships under the Pakistani flag to transit the Strait of Hormuz. Under the terms of the agreement, 2 ships will be permitted to cross the strategic waterway daily, and the development offers a targeted logistical reprieve for Pakistani maritime trade amid the ongoing regional naval restrictions. And obviously, it's very restricted. I think I was reading only 150 ships have passed through the strait in the last 30 days, or was it 150? And typically, that's how many go through in a day. We can see, let's come down here. The UK Maritime Trade Operations Center said just 11 vessels transited the Strait of Hormuz in the past day, down sharply from about 138 daily before the war. Okay, it was 138 daily before the war. So obviously it's a fraction of that right now. And Iran warns the United States. If investing.com stops tripping out here, we can see Iran warned it would respond by any U.S. or rather to any U.S. ground offensive, and signaled a broader escalation in its rhetoric as regional powers met in Pakistan to discuss de-escalation efforts, you guys can see. And foreign ministers from Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Turkey backed U.S.-Iran peace talks, urging dialogue as the conflict entered its 5th week. Pakistan said it is engaging with Washington and is ready to host ceasefire negotiations, which that is good, but again, boots on the ground is not necessarily good. It's not, right? And the push comes despite continued escalation, with rising military activity and disruptions in the strait, keeping energy markets on edge and elevating Pakistan's role as a potential mediator, which, it looks like that's the case. Iran's parliament speaker, Mohammad Bakir Qualibaf, had accused Washington of preparing a land assault while simultaneously sending messages about possible negotiations, which, that's strategic, I guess. It's possible that is the case. He said Tehran would not accept surrender, and was ready to retaliate if U.S. troops were deployed. The warnings come after Iran's IRGC, issued a direct threat against U.S.-affiliated universities and neighboring nations. So, guys, at this point, things are escalating. If we really get boots on the ground, that would be not good, obviously, for the stock market, but that would escalate the war. That would not be good for the global economy, oil, you know what I mean? And it comes down to President Trump, right? What is he going to approve? Is he going to approve the boots on the ground operation? Some of it, all of it, none of it? What's going to happen here? The market is sitting on the edge of its seat, waiting for exactly that. So that's the big news from over the weekend. Quite an interesting weekend. And again, the futures are slipping, rightfully so. I think the VIX will hit a lot higher, maybe early this week. Not guaranteed, obviously. This is not financial advice, guys. But man, I'm comfortable sitting in a decent amount of cash. And don't get me wrong, I'm invested in this market. I'm feeling the pain too. I'm not one of these guys that's like, oh, I'm out. I'm not in the market now. I'm good. I'm in cash. I've been in cash for months, right? No, guys, I have cash, but I'm also in the markets. So I feel this drop with you guys. But I think it's an opportunity. I think it's an opportunity long term. And historically, the stock market bottoms and actually starts to recover before wars end. I can't say that's happened every single war. I don't have that data right in front of me, but from what I was researching, most of the times, guys, during war, markets bottom, start to recover before we officially get the signal, okay, we're done. The war's over, peace, this, that, whatever, So keep that in mind. If we slip another 5-10% on the Qs, on the S&P. If we get into a bear market, which the Qs are now down from all-time highs about 13%, so we're almost there, 7 more percent, If this thing slips another 5-10%, we get into a bear market. The reality is, man, a lot of buyers are going to come in, a lot of buyers are going to come in. This is the opportunity for people that are in their 20s, 30s even, you're building your wealth, you're starting to buy stocks. This is a great opportunity. And the reality is it's not guaranteed, but it's going to start stabilizing, putting in a bottom before this truly ends, in my opinion. And I got some pushback on that in another video I made, or in the comments, saying, Stas, this is going to shock the oil market across the world, which it already is, obviously, but the ripple effect of that is going to disrupt the economy. It's going to screw everything up for a long time. That is where we have to wait and see, really, and we've said before, the price of oil being elevated for many, many months, that will not be good, would not be good. But it's only been 4 or 5 weeks now with elevated oil prices. If we can somehow get that down relatively quickly here, I don't think it's going to be as bad to the economy long term. But it all comes down to, the Strait at the end of the day, man, and who controls that, who operates it, right? I mean, are we going to get full-on traffic through the Strait again? When will that happen? There's so many what-ifs, and this is why it's tough. It's a tough market right now. And me being in cash I feel comfortable. And again, I'm not fully in cash, but having some cash, having options here makes me feel good. Makes me, I could sleep at night a little bit better. You know what I mean, guys? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. So that's a quick rundown on the charts here. What's going on overseas. It's going to be an interesting week. Now, we have some companies reporting earnings. None of these are super fun to track or super, popular, I guess. But Nike is this week. We have them on, I think, Thursday. And man, I am not a fan of Nike at all. I've only made money shorting this stock over the last year. A couple of times I've shorted it, and I think pretty much every time, I've made money on Nike puts. So at this point, it's so beaten up into earnings, man. It has gotten destroyed, and I was pounding the table against Nike when it was at $70, $80. I was buying puts. I was saying, guys, be careful here. It's not what it used to be. And now we're at $50. Hey, I got to say I was right. Got to toot my own horn a little bit. But we'll see. Maybe it's a bit too oversold right now to the point where, hey, if earnings come in decent, this might rebound. Maybe. I don't know. In this market, who knows, right? But Nike's projecting 28 cents of earnings per share. Well, I guess Nike's not projecting that. Analysts have them doing that on revenue of $11.22 billion, which last year they did $11.27 billion. That's down 0.4% year over year projected. And last year they did 54 cents of earnings per share. So, yeah, their revenue is going to be flat. Their EPS pretty much is going to cut in half year over year. So Nike, I am not a fan at all. Every time frame you pull up, the stock's collapsing. The 1 year, the 3 year, the max chart honestly looks awful. Clear head and shoulders. Nike's down, 75% from all-time highs. This is a trap, in my opinion. I'm avoiding it. I've been avoiding it. I'm only going to short the stock, really. Virgin Galactic's another one here. Very speculative. You guys know Virgin Galactic. Again, not the most exciting companies this week, but $2 a share. They're reporting earnings, it looks like, tomorrow in the aftermarket, Monday, and they're obviously a company that's losing money. They don't make much money on the top line either. Revenue estimate for Virgin Galactic is $412,000 versus $429,000 from last year. That would be down about 4% year over year. On EPS, they're projecting analysts for them to lose $1.07 on the quarter versus the loss of 97 cents from last year. So revenue's down year over year, and losses are expanding, not narrowing, they're expanding. So Virgin Galactic, I actually used to own this stock years ago. I made money on it. It's crazy. I bought it. Looking back, what was my average? What was my average on this thing? Like 15 to 16 a share? I'm not even kidding, guys. This stock was, I think they've done some reverse splits, whatever, but when I owned it, I bought it at 16, 15 was my average, and I rode it to like 60, 70 bucks a share, pretty much locked in the gains there. Made a ton of money on this stock. Honestly, I did. But I've been out of it since, and I don't have faith in it now. I really don't. It's just one of those that could be a trade, but there's other ones better out there. Dave & Buster's is also this week. Another one that's like, but they are reporting earnings on Wednesday in the aftermarket. Tuesday in the aftermarket. Earnings per share for them projected at 46 cents versus 69 cents from last year on revenue of $554 million versus $534 million, up around 3.84% year over year. Not bad, but not good. Not good at all. So those are just a couple of names I'm watching now, guys, reporting earnings. I don't own any of them, to be clear. Other stocks I'm looking at are IPI, which I've been pounding the freaking table here on YouTube, on Patreon, on Discord, which is through the Patreon. Intrepid, I can't say it, but Intrepid Potash, IPI, this stock, we called it out at about $37. And with this downside we're seeing in the market and the inverse correlation it seems like it has on IPI, fertilizer stocks have been ripping. Yeah, I'm watching it for this week, maybe for a play to $50, maybe higher than $50. Obviously, we're watching silver. By the way, I forgot to mention, Brent crude oil right now is trading at 108 a barrel, up 3%, and WTI is back over 100. It's up 3%. WTI is completely breaking back out now. Just on a side note here, we have silver. It looks like the metals are, where the heck are the metals? They're down a little bit. Silver's at 69 an ounce. Gold's at 45.30, so it's up a little bit, 45.30 per ounce. So interesting times we're seeing in these markets. And you guys saw my video from yesterday, probably. Stocks that I'm looking to buy are a lot of these Mag 7 stocks. And you might be like, Stas, Mag 7, these companies are screwed, right? Not necessarily, in my opinion. I'm not buying all of them blindly, but I think they're going to do well over time. And what else are we going to buy? Sure, there are other good stocks right now, but energy stocks are too hot. I'm not looking to chase those here. There are other names that I own, in different sectors, right? But I'm really just dialing in on a lot of these tech AI stocks. The AI trade, I think, is going to come out of this roaring, into 2027, throughout 2030. I think we're going to do very well with these stocks. I mean, look, 2030 is going to be here very quickly, guys. I think these investments, at least this is how I'm looking at it. These stocks I'm buying now, whether it's some Mag 7, other tech plays, whatever it may be, these are plays for 2030 and beyond. That's where my head's at. A lot of people are like, oh, we're seeing this Iran war play out. What's going to happen next week, next quarter? How is the price of oil going to impact the economy over the next 3 to 6 months? I get it. It's a concern. It could trigger a recession maybe, right? Possibly. But I'm thinking past that. I'm thinking 2030. That's when I'm hitting the buy button, that's what I'm thinking of. So yeah, whether it's Amazon, right? Whether it's Nvidia, whether it's Meta, I'm thinking 2030 and beyond. And I genuinely believe these will be higher, a lot higher in a couple of years, right? I think Coherent is going to be a lot higher in a couple of years. And if this thing gets to $200 this week, I'm buying back in, right? If it gets under 200, I'm loading the boat. You know what I mean? So there are a lot of stocks here that I just think are going to be higher. And people are so focused on the short term. And I'll leave you guys with this. When you're investing, have 2030 and beyond in mind, right? Because we're going to be there sooner rather than later. And I'll leave you guys with that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button. Consider subscribing and joining the Patreon for my weekly portfolio updates. You guys get to be a part of the private Discord, and you see all my trades in real time. I post them on Discord, on Patreon, linked down below. pinned in the comments in the description box as well, or go to stassurfest.com/Patreon. And with that being said, cheers for me and my empty cup of coffee, guys. I'll see you in the next video.